SAT Test 4 Section 3. We'll try to get through this in faster than 25 minutes, though I don't guarantee it. This is a 20-minute section. All right, so if 3b plus 1 is less than 10, which of the following can be the value of b? All right, this one you're simply going to solve it. Solve the inequality. It'd help if my pen would write for me today. There it is. All right, so we solve it. So we get 3b is less than 9. B has to be less than 3. So it cannot be 3 if it's going to be less than 3. This is 2 to the 4x equals 16. You can just start plugging them in. You know that 2 to the 4th power is going to be 16. So x has to be equal to 1, or else you can just start plugging them. If you put 1 in for x, it would be 2 to the 4th power, which equals 16. How much greater is 2 minus r minus 2 than is r plus 5? So you could just say, you know that r plus 5 is greater than r minus 2. And you could just solve these, and you would get, you just get 7. The r's would cross out. So that way doesn't really work. But you could just pick numbers. Let r equal something like 5. So we're going to get on the left side 5 minus 2 is 3, and on the right side you would get 5 plus 5 is 10. So this one's going to be 7 greater. So the answer is 7. It's probably a better way to do that. All right, next one. Let it load. My internet's really slow today for some reason. All right, so this one, if a rectangular box with no lid shown above is cut along vertical edges and flattened, which of the following figures best represent the results? So if it's going to be flattened, it's going to be opening up outwardly. And so the answer is just going to be E. That's just a visual problem. It's hard to explain it any other way than to look at it. If the flaps came out, this is what it would look like. Not much explanation for that one. All right, in the figure above, a path from point A to D is determined by moving upward or to the right along the grid lines. How many different paths can be drawn from A to D that do not include B and C? So what I did is I just systematically started. So I did this one, that would be 1. I could do this up here, over here, that would be 2. I can go over this way, this would be 3. And I can go up here, I can only go this way, so that would be 4 different paths. All the rest of them, if you did any other try, you would hit B and C, so the answer is 4. All right, next one is just a little algebra problem. So 3/7 of n would be times is 42. You multiply both sides by the reciprocal, like this. It goes in 14 times, and so you're going to get an answer of 98. And so it ends up being. And then you have to say, what is not 5/7 of n? Well, n is 98, so you take 98 times 5/7, and it goes in 14 times. There's probably an easier way to do this problem, and you get 70. And that's it for that one. Let's move on. We're going quickly today so far. All right, a lot of words. Bottom line is when a marble is dropped into a box at random, it falls into one of the compartments. What is the probability it will fall in compartment F? Well, we can divide each of these rectangles. It says that the rectangles have twice the area as a square, so we can just take it and divide it straight down. Not very straight, but so we've made 9 boxes, so now there's 9 compartments. So the probability that it'll land in F is 2 out of the 9 different compartments. So your answer is E. Most of the time taken in this problem is just to read the problem. So the key is each of these rectangles are twice the area of each square. All right. If a and b are odd integers, which of the following must also be an odd integer? Best way to do odd and even problems is just to pick values. We're going to say a equals 3, b equals 5, and try them out. So the first one, if I put them in up here at 1, I would have 3 plus 1 times 5, and that would give me 20. So that one's definitely out. Let's do the next one. 3 plus 1 plus 5 is going to be 9. That's a good one. And 3 plus 1 minus 5 is going to be -1, and that's a good one. So 2 that work, 2 and 3. When you have odd and even integer problems, it's a really good opportunity to use pick numbers. All right, next. All right, this is a pattern problem. The decimal number above consists only of ones and zeros to the right of the decimal point. The first one is followed by 1, 1. The second one is followed by 1, 0. The second one is followed by 2 zeros. The third one is followed by 3 zeros, and so on. What's the total of number of zeros between 98th and 101st one in this decimal number? Well, if there's 1 0 after the first one, 2 zeros after the second one, then after the 98th number, there's going to be 98 zeros. After the 99th one, there's going to be 99 zeros. After the 100th one, there's going to be 100 zeros. Now, it's between 99, 98 to 101. So we're not going to figure out how many zeros are after this. We're not worrying about that. We're only worrying about the zeros in between there. So we're just going to add these guys up. And when we add them up, we get 297. When you have a lot of numbers like this, look for a pattern. You're not expected to write all the zeros out till you get that far up. There's usually a pattern that you can find. So there you go. All right, next one's a function problem. This is a really actually simple function. You have f of x equals 3 minus 2x squared over x. Function problems are just substitution problems. This value in the parenthesis always stands for your x value. So we're just going to put in, for the x, we're going to put in the 2. So we get 3 minus 2 times 2 squared over 2. So we're going to get 3 minus 4 times 2 is 8 over 2. And we get -5 halves. And there we go. All right, moving into harder problems now. At least I think so. All right, in the figure above, L is perpendicular to N. X is greater than 90 degrees. Which of the following must be true? So the thing is, see how this says not drawn to scale? If it's not drawn to scale, hyperdraw it the way it tells you to. So it's telling us L is perpendicular to N. So let's just draw that in here. There's L. Oops, that's N, and this is L. Okay, perpendicular. I wish my lines were not gray, but they are. Now it says x degrees is greater than 90. So let's just hyper do that. Okay, you're perfectly allowed to overdraw. So look, x, do you see how in the drawing up here, hold on, let me get a pencil. In the drawing here, they make it look perpendicular. That messes you up, makes you want to pick something like, oh, y has to equal 90. I mean, that's not right. Or n is perpendicular to m because of the drawing. But it's not drawn to scale. And this is a case where you want to redraw it and just hyper this. X is greater than 90. So this is x degrees. It has to be bigger than 90. So I made it really bigger than 90. So this is n, this is L, and this is m. It's down here now. Which of the following must be true? Well, look at y now. You know it has to be less than 90 degrees. If x is greater than 90, so it's not going to be parallel anymore. It's not going to be perpendicular. It's not going to be equal to 90. It's not going to be greater than 90. And so the only choice is it has to be less than 90. So this is another technique. If it's not drawn to scale and you can see something that you can draw hyperly, hyperdraw it. And then look at your diagram that you drew. I like that kind. All right, next one. In the xy plane, we have a line. y equals 5x minus 10, which crosses the x-axis with coordinates a, b. What is the value of a? All right, you can draw this line. You don't have to draw it, but I'm just going to draw it just so that you can see what we're doing. Y, x, if I were to sketch this, the y-intercept's negative 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Your slope is up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1. Just put that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. And then I could just keep going with my slope. I could go up 5, would be here, over 1, and you can see where it would intersect. It would intersect at 2, 0. So they're asking what would be the value of the x-coordinate, which would be 2. The other way you can do it is if it's going to cross the x-axis, you know y is going to equal 0. So without drawing it, you could have put 0 in for y, and then you would have solved, and you would have got x equals 2. So if it's going to cross the x-axis, the y-coordinate is going to be 0. If it's crossing the y-axis, the x-coordinate is going to be 0. So that's that one. And again, I'm going rather quickly with these this time. Okay, let me just slide back up. All right, so the table shows the noon temperatures for 7 cities, A through G. If the median of these cities is 40, then what would the temperature of D be? So this is the median right here. They're just checking to see if you know what a median is. The median is the middle number. So anytime you have mean, median, and mode problems, first of all, start writing them in order, smallest to biggest. So we have 27, we have 33, 40, hope I can fit them on here, 44, just write them in order, 50, and 68. They're telling us that the median has to be 40. Well, the median is the number right in the middle. So this one has 3 on this side, but it only has 2 on this side. If it's going to be the median, it means there's going to have to be 3 on this side. This should be 3. So that means one of these numbers has to be less than 40. So it says city D could be any of the following except, well, this 29 is less than 40 because we have to have 3 over here. We can't put a 4th one on this side. We need to make this one 3. 35 would fit right there. That's okay. 39 would fit right here. That's okay. 40, if you have 2 40s, that's still okay. And 42 would have to go over here, so that's your bad guy. So it can't be a 42. So when you hit these statistics problems, just put them in order and then work it from there. All right, so far this test hasn't been very difficult. All right, this one looks tricky. What is the perimeter of the figure above? Now, as you can see, it doesn't say not drawn according to scale. So you could simply measure this with your pencil and see how long it is. And you would find that if you did that, that this right here, these 2 sides are also going to be 6. And I purely did that by using the measuring because it's drawn to scale. If you want to know the correct way to do it, here's one way. You could put a line in here like this. You know that I just made a square, so you know that this is 6. And if I complete this, this is 60 degrees, right? Complete my right angles. So this is going to be an equilateral triangle. So if the base is 6 of your equilateral triangle, then the sides have to be 6. So we have to add these all up. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 6s. 6 times 5 would equal 30. So the perimeter would be 30. So this is a double problem. They're testing to see if you know what a perimeter is. Perimeter is when you add up all the sides. And they're trying to get you to figure out that this is an equilateral triangle. This is 6, so these sides have to be 6. Or you could simply just throw all that away and just measure with your pencil and get the lengths of these parts. There's no decimal point numbers here, So if it's close to 6, you know it's going to be 6. All right, next one, I think. Nope, not in the last page yet. All right, some tough ones coming up, I guess. All right. What is the greatest prime factor of 38 and the greatest prime factor of 100? So we're going to just tree these out. This is 2 times 19. I do believe that's all you get. And let's just take this down to 10 times 10, 2 times 5, 2 times 5. These are our prime factors. What is the value of, if n is the greatest prime factor and n is the, I guess it's m and n, greatest prime factor of 100, what is the value of m plus n? Well, the greatest one here would be 19. The greatest prime factor here would be 5. Add those two together and you get 24. 5 plus 19. The greatest prime factor of the two numbers is 24. All right, again, I just had a little bit of trouble sliding down today. All right, line L is a positive slope, passes through the point. K is perpendicular to L. I mean, you don't need to draw this one, but let's say we do. In my white lines that you can't see. Okay, so you have, it has a positive slope, line L does, and it passes through 0, 0. So here we go. Positive slope means if you read from left to right, it's going to go uphill. Positive slopes go uphill as you read from left to right. So this is line L. Okay, it's saying line K is perpendicular to line L. So I'm just going to draw any line K. If it's going to be perpendicular, it's going to just go through this direction. I'm just going to put some arrows on here so we can see it a little bit. It's kind of really light. All right, let's just go through and see if we can figure out this. These two lines are perpendicular. I just drew any line because it didn't say anything else about K except it's perpendicular to L. Okay, line, which of the following must be true? This is must be true. Does line K have to pass through 0, 0? Well, obviously not, because the one we did doesn't go through 0, 0. Line K has a positive slope. Well, look, it's a negative slope because reading from left to right, it's going downhill. So that one's definitely not true. Does line K have to have a negative slope? Well, if line L has a positive slope, the perpendicular line has to have the opposite reciprocal, so it's going to have a negative slope. So this one must be true. Does line K have to have a positive x-intercept? No, because we could have drawn it down here, and it wouldn't have had a positive y-intercept. Can line K have a negative x-intercept? Okay, this is an x and y-intercept. So yes, it could, but it doesn't have to be true. The only one that has to be true is if line L is a positive slope, line K has to have a negative slope because it's a negative reciprocal. Alrighty. All right, we did this one in class before. This is a symbol problem. This is your first A and B. This is your second A and B. So 1 up arrow 2. So it's going to be 1 plus 2 over 1 minus 2 equals 2 up arrow x. So 2 plus x over 2 minus x. So we're going to get 3 over negative 1 equals 2 plus x over 2 minus x. You can't cross those 2's out because they're terms. Cross multiply, so 6 minus 3x equals negative 2 minus x. I didn't save myself enough room. So we're going to get 8 equals, I hope I did this all right, 8 equals, I'm going to add 3x to both sides, so I'm going to get 2x, and we get x equals 4. And that is the answer. Okay, the next one I think is the hardest one on the test, maybe not. During a sale, a customer can buy one shirt for X dollars. All right, and each additional shirt, the customer costs Z dollars less than the first shirt. For example, the cost of the second shirt is X minus Z dollars. Which of the following represents the customer's cost in dollars for N shirts bought during the sale? All right, you can do this algebraically. It's kind of tough. But let's just go, let's start with he can buy one shirt for X dollars. So let's just make each shirt cost X shirts. Let's make each shirt cost $5. All right, any additional shirt is Z dollars less than the first shirt. So let's make any additional shirt would be one less. So $1 less. How many shirts is he going to buy? Let's figure that out. Let's just make it something like, let's make it 4. He's going to buy 4 shirts. Okay, let's see how much it would cost. The first shirt would be $5. The next shirt would be, it says X minus Z dollars. So the next shirt would be $4, right? And he's going to buy a total of 4 shirts. So the next shirt would also be $4. So far he bought 3 shirts, 4 shirts. So if we add that up, we would get $17, or 17, let's just go 17. $17. So now all we have to do is take these numbers that you chose and put them back in to see which one it's going to work in. So let's start with C. So if we did C, it's going to be 4 times X minus Z. So it's going to be 4 times 4, and that's 16. That's not going to work. Okay, you're just going to have to try these out. There's not an easy way to do this problem, unfortunately. So if we go into A, because that's the right answer, so it's going to be 5 plus N minus 1. So N minus 1 would be 3 times X minus Z would be 4. We get 17, and that's the correct one. Algebraically, if you think about it, this would be your first shirt right here. That's even our first shirt when we add it up. And then how many shirts do you get a discount on? Well, we got 3 shirts with a discount out of a total of 4 shirts. So this N is your total of shirts. You're subtracting off this 1 shirt that you don't get a discount for. So it's the total number of shirts minus the 1 shirt you don't get a discount for times all the rest of them. Again, the best way to do this is to just pick values for X, Z, and N, figure out what it would be, and then put the numbers. It can be tedious because there's a lot of them. Sometimes you get lucky and just find the right one right away. But yeah, some of these look really hard to put in. All right, so that's the best advice I can give you on that one. Let's move to the last ones. If my computer will move me there. Hold on 1 second. Oh, wait a second, I have to go. I think I have another page. There we go. Okay, last ones. Sector problems. These 2 are kind of difficult too. This section I didn't think was too bad until you get to these parts. Okay, in the figure, QR is the arc of a circle with center P. If the length of arc QR is 6 pi, what is the area of the sector? All right, with this little detail that this arc is 6 pi, we can figure out the perimeter of the entire figure. Now, if you put this, you can make this into a circle, and this is just one sector out of a circle, all right? So we're supposed to find the area of this sector. You can find out what fractional amount of this sector is of a whole circle. The whole circle is 360 degrees. This is 30 out of 360 degrees. So this sector is 1/12 of the circle, which also means that this little segment of the sector is 1/12 of the circumference. So that's 1/12. So we can figure out the circumference. The circumference of the circle is 2 pi r, right? the circumference of the circle. If I take 6 pi times 12, that would take us the whole way around the circle. So our circumference is going to be, since this is 1/12 of the circle, our circumference is going to be 12 times 6 pi. That's your circumference, and that's going to equal the formula for circumference. Now with that in mind, we can find out the radius of the circle. This is going to be 72 pi equals 2 pi r. The pi's are going to cross out, and we're going to get the radius equals 36. 36. Now, let's see what they're asking for in the question. They want the area of the sector. So we need to find the area of the entire circle. They want the area of the sector. So we want to find the whole area of the entire circle, and then we divide it by 12 because this is 1/12 of the entire circle. So the area of the circle is pi r squared. So the area of the circle is, whoops, this should have been, did I get that right? 36? Yeah. All right, so we're going to get pi times 36 times 36, or you could say 36 squared. I don't have a calculator with me today. And we're going to divide that by 12 because it's 1/12 of the circle. And I'm just going to get by a little bit without a calculator. I'm going to take 12 into 36. It's going to go 3 times. 3 times 36. The area of the sector, this is the sector, equals 108 pi, which is 1 right here. That was a little tough to guess. So a lot of steps to that problem. I did it that fast, assuming you didn't have to think. That problem could take you a little bit of time, unless you have a faster way. Okay, the monster problem. There are 75 more women than men enrolled in Linden College. If n men are enrolled, then in terms of n, what percent of those enrolled are men? Okay, most books that I look at, if I want to look for an answer, they pick numbers. They don't tell you the solution to these algebraically. So I'm just going to I'm going to say that there's 100 men. There might be better numbers to pick. These are the ones I initially picked. Women, I'm going to say there's 175 women because there's 75 more women than men. Out of the total, there's 275. So if I want to figure out the percentage of men, I would take 100 and I would divide it by 275, and it would end up being 36 point something something percent. 36 point, I don't know what it is, something 36%. I don't have it. I just rounded it to 36%. Okay, hold on 1 minute. My last problem, and I have to text somebody. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these numbers, I'm going to take n, I'm going to put 100 back up into here and see which one gives me 36%. What I actually did was I saw all these are divisible by 25. You don't have to do this. So I divide this, or by, all these are divisible by, I could have done 25. I think I just did 4, but you could have done 25. So I divided by 4 and I got 25, 75, and out of a total of 100. That would have worked too. So you just take your number. I'm just going to take my 25. I just reduced it. You could either take 100 or 25, put it in, and just to save a little time, I'm putting in the right one. It ends up being E. There's no fast way about this. So if I did 100 times 25, or 100 times 100, divided by 2 times 25, plus 75, I am going to get, whoops, my board moved on me. I'm going to get 36 point whatever percent. So, whoops, I don't need a question mark on that because it's what it is. So The answer is, in fact, E. And I did that totally by picking numbers, working with the numbers that I picked, finding the percentage, and putting them back in there. So there's 2 of those in that section where you want to pick numbers. All right, that is it for section 3 of test 4.